Hey guys, it's Linh and today I'm going to talk about how I got a web design job in Japan with no experience and no degree. In this video, I'll first explain to you my background and my career transition and show you guys my real portfolio as well as explain about the recruiting process of the web industry in Japan and tell you guys what you need to prepare to be able to get a job as a web designer here. I will also mention some tools and websites here and there that may be helpful for you guys, especially if you're new to this field. Before I start, I have to stress that I'm pretty fluent in Japanese. So what I did was probably the same with what a normal Japanese would do. So if you don't live in Japan or if you don't speak Japanese, well, my experience may not be applicable for you, but still I hope that through this video I can at least give you an insight of how the web industry is here and how to get into this industry. To be honest, before I went through all of this, I didn't personally know any foreigner who has done this before, so I was really lost. I didn't know what to do and I was really worried about this all the time. But anyway, I made it, so I hope that the information that I'm going to provide you today will be helpful for you guys. First, I will explain a bit about my background so that it will be easier for you guys to understand the situation that I was in. I graduated from a Japanese university in September 2016 with a degree in culture, society and media. What I learned in university was mostly theories and very broad and general, so basically I had no useful skill for working. I didn't know what I wanted to do either, so back then it was really hard for me to get my first job. If you want to know how I landed my first job, please watch my video about job hunting in Japan because in that video I explain in details the process that I went through. Anyway, for privacy reason, I have never really mentioned exactly what I did in my previous company, but now I feel like it's okay to share a bit more details with you guys. So I graduated from university in September 2016 and 1 month before that I got 2 job offers. One was in food service industry and the other one was human resource. So I chose the second one and I started working in human resource from April 2017. Whenever I tell people that I'm an HR, a lot of people think that I'm a headhunter, but that is not even close to what I was doing. I don't know how it is for other countries, but in Japan, what HR does vary a lot depending on the size of the team as well as the size and the structure of the company. In the company that I was working for, we had a very small team, so we kind of had to do many different things at the same time. My duties were to process paperwork, answer employees' questions, arrange internships, support the recruiting process, schedule interviews, support interns and new employees, sometimes translate documents, and the biggest duty was to check the employee attendance record and calculate payroll. So basically we had to make sure that everyone was paid the right amount of money on time. I'm not gonna go into more details, but at least you can see that my background has nothing to do with IT, web development or web design at all. I was doing this job and all the time I knew that it was not the right job for me, so constantly I was looking for something else. After almost a year, around the beginning of 2017, I came across an advertisement on the internet about this school that claimed that they have courses dedicated for people who are working like me. So in these schools, they have courses like web design, UI, UX, interior design, graphic design, computer-aided design, and so on. The name of this school is Tokyo Design Plex, and I really recommend this school. However, they only have classes in Japanese. I registered for a trial class and then had consultation with them. Before explaining more about this school, I have to say that I don't think that you have to go to school to actually study what I learned. However, there are certain benefits of going to school and I'm going to explain more about that later on in this video. But anyway, I think it's totally possible to self-study and just study things for free on the internet. At first, when I had the consultation with the school, I was not really sure if I should go for graphic design or web design. But after the consultation, they said to me that if I like doing new things, learning new things, and if I like something more dynamic, they think that it's probably better for me to go for web design. During the consultation, they showed me the works of the student who took web design and graduated, and the websites that they made was super cool. I really love it. I really wish I could do something like that. At that point, I didn't know anything about design or coding. So looking at that, I really couldn't imagine myself being able to do anything like that. And then I got just really excited about this whole thing. So I decided to enroll, and with this school, besides the main courses like design and coding, you can also add several other courses. So I chose to add responsive design and web direction. So the total amount of money that I had to pay the school was around 700,000 yen, which is around 7,000 USD. There was this insurance I was paying for almost a year. So because of that, I was qualified for the cashback after finishing the course. So after I finished the course, I was able to get around 100,000 yen back, which is around 1,000 USD. So the total amount of money that I had to pay for the course was around 6,000 USD. Now I know that is a lot of money, and I had to actually pay for the whole amount upfront because I'm a foreigner, and the loan that they had was only available for whether Japanese or foreigners who have permanent resident visa. Luckily, I always knew that I wanted to do something else instead of my previous job, so I was saving a lot of money every month. And by that time, I had been working for almost a year, and I was saving a lot of money, so I was able to pay for the tuition fee with my first year savings. To be honest, I think it's totally worth it, and even now I don't regret paying for that at all. I could choose to take class during the week or on the weekend, so I was really considering whether I should just quit my job and focus on studying. However, the school doesn't support student visa, so I think it was just so much better for me, like my visa and my financial situation, to just keep working, and then I just work during the week and then take classes on the weekend. I was having classes from 10 a.m. to around 4 to 6 p.m. every Saturday, and I had these classes for almost 8 months from April to December 2017. I was lucky to have a very good teacher, and every class we get to learn the basic content first, and immediately after that we get to apply what we learned to make a real website. So I think it's just really easy to understand and very practical as well. My teacher also gave us a lot of information about the real workflow and what it's like in the web industry, and also the new trend of the web industry. So overall, it was just really nice. And as I said before, there are certain benefits of going to school, and this is one of them. Other than that, if you have any question, you can just ask right away, and you can also ask the teacher to take a look at your code and give you advice on how you can improve it. So I think that's a really good benefit of going to school. Another thing is that you kind of have to go to the class regularly, so that will make you a bit more committed to it. You can learn a lot of things in a short period of time, and definitely I think it's not impossible to learn all of this by yourself. However, it may take more time, and for me it's just best to have someone to teach me the foundation at first, and now that I know the basic stuff, I can just learn by myself, and now I'm pretty comfortable with teaching myself. Anyway, let me briefly explain what I was learning there. So here are the books that I got from the school, and I didn't have to pay any extra money for these books. I'm not a big fan of books, so I threw away some books already and only keep these ones with me just in case. Here are the books about how to use Photoshop and Illustrator, but I find this really boring, so I normally just search what I want to do online and follow that. Then we have books about web design and responsive design. These books are actually pretty helpful because they provide a general idea of what web design involves. Finally, these are the books about coding, like how to write and use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. For the main course, every class was divided into half. So the first 2-3 hours for graphic, and then the next 2-3 hours is for coding. We started with Photoshop by learning how to edit photos, how to create composition, how to make simple wireframe and mockup. Then we learned Illustrator to make some simple icons or illustration. We also learned how to make the layout and prototype with Adobe XD. For coding, we learned simple HTML, then CSS, then later Sass. And we also learned JavaScript, jQuery, some simple PHP, and WordPress. For this class, we have midterm project and final project, and for each project, we had to make a website by ourselves. Before making that website, we receive a paper in which we have to fill out the details about the website, like the target user, the visual concept, and the description, and so on. After that, we have to make a sitemap, a wireframe, and also a prototype if possible. The teacher will take a look at that and then give you some advice, and after that you can start the coding to make the real website. And at the end you have to make a presentation and just explain about your website to everyone in the class. After this main course ended, I had 2 more courses, which was responsive design and web direction. In the responsive design course, we learned about breakpoints, mobile first design, and how to make a responsive website. And also for the final project, we had to make a responsive website as well. In the web direction course, we learned about the customer journey, content marketing, micro interaction, and some UI and UX. So in this course, we had a lot of group work, and we had to do activities like coming up with customer journey or to carry out some interviews, and then after that improve the usability and design of some certain website. Overall, I just like coding much more, so the class was really boring for me. I was able to learn a lot, but of course I didn't just study from the school, but I also had to self-study and Google search a lot. Like if you try to code something and there's something that you don't understand, or there's something that doesn't work, you just kind of have to Google search it and then figure out what the solution is. In general, I think that's just how you have to learn when you're in IT. There are several websites I use a lot for my studying, and I really recommend these websites if you are beginners. These are Skillshare, Udemy, CSS Trick, CodePen, O'Reilly, W3 School, and these are all great resources for self-study. And by the way, if anybody here is trying to study Vue.js, I really recommend Vue Mastery because they are awesome. It's really easy to understand. After finishing all of the courses in December 2018, I started to prepare to look for a job. Actually, before this, around June or July 2018, I was already trying to see if I could find a job with my limited skill at that time. However, I couldn't do much and I didn't have a proper portfolio, so that was not possible. In Japan, for positions like web designer or web developers, there are a lot of people who switch to this from a totally unrelated job or field. However, if you have no work experience or related background, it's still pretty hard to get a decent job, but it's not impossible as long as you have a good portfolio. What matters the most is that you show them what you can do. So the first thing that I had to do was to fix my resume, write a work record, and make a portfolio. About the portfolio, I knew that I had to make one to find a job, but I had no real work experience and I didn't have much time. So actually I planned ahead and I made all of my school projects in the way that I can reuse them for my portfolio. I did a lot of research about portfolio to see what I have to include and how I should present all of the information. And I also take a look at a lot of portfolio made by other people. I went to some events that talk about how to make a portfolio as well. And these events were organized by my school or by some agencies that I registered with. As they recommended, I made 2 portfolio, one online version and one printed version. So apparently the online one is for you to send to the employers when you first apply for the position, and then the printed one is for you to use during the interviews so that you have something to show to the interviewers. You can also give that and let the interviewers keep it if they want to, so that they have something to show to their coworkers later on. It's of course better to have the printed one, but in case you don't have time to make it, you can just bring your laptop or tablet or show them on your phone if you have to. Many people wonder how many projects they should put on their portfolio, and if you ask people this question, you're probably gonna get different answers from everyone, but quantity doesn't matter as much as quality. So just put your best work on there, like the work that you're proud of. Before showing my portfolio, I just have to say that I made this in a very short period of time. I was really new to the field. I didn't have any experience, so it's pretty bad. And now that I've been working for 6 months, and now that I look at it again just for this video, I see a lot of things I can improve, like the design itself, or like the font size too huge, the animation is just too fast, and the interaction is kind of jumpy, and there are a lot of bugs here and there. But anyway, I'm not gonna use this again, so I'm not gonna fix anything. I know it's pretty bad, but please don't judge me. And here's my portfolio. This is the top page, and I no longer have the file with me anymore, so I cannot show much. Here's the page where I show all of the website that I made. I put a simple thumbnail of each website on top with an anchor link to make it a bit easier to navigate. This is the first website that I made after around 2 to 3 months of learning how to code. It's a website for an imaginary restaurant. I just didn't want to use any real information for my website because I don't know if that will involve any kind of copyright problem. So avoiding that just makes so much more sense to me. Copyrights and license are something that you should always be careful about. Even for me, when I make video, I have to make sure that I don't use any copyrighted content all the time. And especially I think it's a plus point for you if you can show to the employers that you are aware of this and that you are always careful about this stuff. I want to make the website simple but still a bit luxurious, so I look for the photos that are close to what I imagine on Unsplash and put them together in this website. I made up all of the menu and all of the information here. I found some food photo and just simply crop the food out to make the menu, and it looks pretty convincing in my opinion. I haven't learned responsive design yet at this point, so this website is only available on PC. This is the second website that I made. Here you can see that I also put some screenshots together with other information about the website down below. I wanted to show the employers that I can do many different things, so I chose to make a recruiting website for my second project. I found this company's website and it was really old and confusing, so I decided to redesign the whole website. This website had a lot of information, so it was a bit complicated, and I had to make a proper sitemap in advance and rearrange the information before creating the wireframe as well as the layout. However, I made this after learning design and coding for only about 6 months, so it's not that great. Now that I have been working in this field for over a year, I can see a lot of things that should be improved in this design, like the position of each block and component, or I should use more space in each block, and so on. I work on this website continuously for about 3 weeks every day after I finished my day job, so this was the best that I could do already at that time. The last website that I put on my portfolio was this product page. I made this website for my responsive web design class, so it's the only website that was designed to look good on all devices like PC, tablet, and smartphone. It's a pretty simple website, and I made a few changes to the layout depending on the screen's width. For example, I used a slider instead of showing all of the images when the screen gets smaller. By the way, if you want to make the wireframe or the design fast, I recommend using software like Figma or Adobe XD because it's not only fast and easy, it also allows you to create prototypes very easily, which is really useful for you if you want to see how all your pages connect to each other. Here's the paper version of my portfolio. The first page is my profile summary and contact information, and I list all of the content on the second page. Then for each website, just like the online portfolio, I show the screenshot of the top page and write other detail under it, such as a short description of the website, its target user, how much time I spent on making this, and what tools I used. I also show some of the screenshots of each website right next to this information. I actually brought this with me to every interview and used it to explain what I can do to the interviewers, and I also gave it to them if they wanted to keep it. As I was getting my document ready, I also started looking for job posting and contacted a lot of different recruiting agents. I registered for many agents at the same time and whether talk to them on the phone or via email, or I book a meeting with them directly. Some of the agents that I was using were Green, Midabi Creator, Vivid, and Kikli, and Ninja. I think all of these agents only speak Japanese, so if you cannot speak Japanese properly, you cannot use their service. Anyway, I'll put some more agents that I know in the description box, including the one that speak English as well, so check that out if you're interested. There are many different kinds of agents, and there are the agents that help you with everything, including going through your resume, giving you advice, scheduling interviews for you, and so on. And there are agents that have a website that has all kind of job postings, and you just have to go through the website and apply for the job directly by yourself. My school also has job hunting support, so I was applying to some positions that they were introducing as well. My teacher recommended me to apply for companies that have the design or the past works that I am interested in or that I like. So I also looked for a list of web and design agencies in Tokyo and applied to them directly. There are also a lot of websites that have collections of good websites in Japan, so sometimes I look for the websites that I like in there and then try to figure out the company that made that website. After that, I just send them an email with my portfolio and resume and tell them that I really like the company and that I am interested in a position there, even when I was not sure if they were recruiting or not. And actually, that was how I found the company that I am working for right now. That's why I think you should do that too, because who knows, you may end up getting a good offer like I did. For someone with no actual related working experience like me, to find a permanent position in this field in Japan is not that easy. And this permanent position is known as seishain in Japan. There are more part-time or contract positions, but overall the social status and the benefits of those positions are not as good as the full-time permanent ones, so I didn't want to apply for those. By the way, as a foreigner in Japan, you should check with the company when you apply if they can support your visa or not. In my case, I already had a valid working visa sponsored by my previous company, so my current company actually didn't have to sponsor my visa, and when I changed my job, I just had to go through some paperwork to inform the immigration office of my job change. Honestly, I don't know if they would have hired me if I didn't have a valid working visa, so be sure to pay attention to that and just check with the company to make sure that they can handle that for you. The payment is also quite low for the entry-level web design positions, and to be honest, to make this career change, I had to sacrifice a big drop in my income, but that's okay because I'm learning a lot right now. The base salary is anywhere between 170,000 to 220,000 yen, and sometimes it already includes a certain hours of overtime, as the job assume that you have to do overtime anyway. My salary right now includes 28 hours of overtime per month, and to be honest, I would receive so much more money if I worked the same number of hours in my previous company. I'm happy now and I like my job and I like the people I'm working with and I'm learning a lot, so I think it's still worth it though. Anyway, going back to the job hunting process, I think I applied for around 100 companies in total because I was still working full-time and my work was so busy at that time. I didn't have much time, so my strategy was to just apply and send my resume everywhere, and if I actually pass the document route, I will consider if I want to actually go to the interview with that company or not. It's pretty normal to fail a lot, especially if you don't have any experience. But if you keep failing, don't be discouraged and just keep trying. Whenever I failed several companies, I applied to some new ones. So out of 100 companies I applied to, I got interviews for 7 companies. And normally there will be 2 to 3 rounds of interviews, and it all depends on the company itself. I actually went to interviews for 4 companies, and my company right now was the second one that I had interview with. They gave me the offer right away on the day of the interview, so that was not really common. I just really like the kind of design and the websites that my company made, and I just really love the way the office looks. And also when I met the people in the company, I really liked them as well, and honestly I felt like I was falling in love with the company. But anyway, just to make sure, I went to interviews for 2 more companies, but I didn't feel like they were a good fit for me, so I decided to join my current company, and then I canceled the interviews with the remaining 3 companies. Normally, there will be several different interviewers, and the people who interview you will be someone from HR who will see if your personality and background is a good fit for the company. And then there will be an engineer or designer who will be in charge of checking your technical or working skill, I guess. In the interview, they want you to introduce yourself first, and then they will ask you a lot of questions about your portfolio, or questions like what do you do in your previous job, why do you want to change your job, why do you want to apply for this position or this company, what you learned in school, what you can do. Questions about your personality, like are you the type that will ask other people, or are you the type that will search for everything by yourself and learn by yourself, or like are you the one that prefers working alone, or are you the one that likes working with other people, and so on. Sometimes they also ask about coding or technical stuff, but because it's a position for someone without any experience, honestly, I think they don't expect that much from you. So that's how I found a job as a web designer in Japan, and I have been doing this job for 6 months. I really love it, and there are still a lot of things to learn, but that's exciting. Nowadays, I mainly do coding and just a bit of design, but I think I'm better at coding than designing anyway, so I think I will try to become a front-end developer in the future. I try to summarize everything that I did in this video, but if there's something that I forgot to mention, I'll just put it in the description box down below, so make sure that you check that out as well. If you have any question, please leave it down below in the comment box, and I'll just get back to you and answer those questions as soon as I can. Please click the like button if you enjoyed the video, and please help me to share it with your friends, family, and on your social media so that this information can reach more people. Subscribe and click the bell button for more videos about life and travel in Japan. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!